Ellis Henican. I'm John Scott. Fox News Watch is on right now. The president also mentioned his predecessor, Ellis, in that speech, talked about Bush 43, said no one can doubt President Bush's support for our troops or his love of country and commitment to our security. A lot of folks in the liberal media didn't seem to like that too much.
Well, listen, it's a gracious moment at a time where the news actually is on the current president's side. I mean, it is a good news that combat efforts are ending now, and that's something worth celebrating. To me, the lesson, though, is more of a theatrical one, frankly, than a political one. This guy's not nearly as good in the Oval Office as he is in front of a crowd. And I understand there was a desire to do this in a somber tone, but, you know, we have a president who is capable of tremendous oratory and tremendous public motivation, and somehow that doesn't translate as well when he's sitting behind a desk.
He was having an off day, because I have to say, I have found him, and I know plenty of conservatives as well, so it's not just because I identify with his politics, who have found him to be an incredible orator. But I completely agree. When I was watching, and I thought, why do they put him in this this situation? Because it's just not his strength. It comes off very wooden. It's just, it really isn't the best way for him to be communicating with Americans.
Maybe a dozen folding chairs in front of the desk in the Oval Office would manage. No, but some people, seriously, I mean, John is a master at talking to nobody and making it sound like he's talking right to your soul. But I mean, a lot of people do better when they're talking to actual human beings.
But does he need to get on in the media and ask the country for sacrifice? I mean, is it that kind of time?
You know, I'm not sure that would hurt. I would focus, though, more on having a clear vision of what the program is. I mean, I don't know that anyone really, frankly, has much that's going to work instantly to pull us out of this recession. Yes, that does go back to the previous president, Bill, but you do have to sell it in a way, and you've got to have a simple message, and I think they've fallen down.
The president's going to give one of his rare press conferences in about a week, and he'll be getting a lot of questions on the economy then, and we'll have to see whether anyone's buying this notion that it's going to get better before the midterms. I don't think it's going to get better before the midterms.
I think he's, you know, the problem with the press conferences is that the media now has sort of turned against him, and so he's going to be in a sort of hostile environment. They made the biggest mistake they can make, which is they overpromised. You should never overpromise. You should always underpromise and let people be, you know, happily surprised by what happened. And you know, instead they claimed that unemployment wasn't going to rise above 8%. I mean, why would you ever do something like that?
No, it's right. And in that spirit, I always try to keep my expectations very, very low.
I wouldn't say the media exactly turned against him. I think they dialed back their fawning coverage a half a notch, and it's noticeable.
America is at a crossroads, and there is a clear and simple choice. Do we choose to just look at the scars? Do we choose to look back? Or do we do what every great generation has done in America in times of trouble? Look ahead. Dream about what we are going to become, not worried about what we are.
Fox News' Glenn Beck at the National Mall last weekend headlining the Restoring Honor rally in our nation's capital. Not everyone was exactly warm to that rally.
You can't though be an ideological warrior 364 days a year, then one day deliver a boring speech and have everybody forget that you were an ideological warrior.
So if he delivers an ideological red meat speech, you criticize him for that, and if he doesn't, you say he's a hypocrite because on the other days he delivered an ideological speech.
You judge the speech as it's delivered, but you are who you are. You don't show up as a blank.
So you can't win. If you have a message of goodwill, you still get criticized.
It's not a matter of winning or losing. It's a matter of giving the perspective to the audience at who it is that's making this speech, and that's part of the coverage,
But if we look at the actual coverage that happened, it's exactly what you said it was. I mean, they covered it exactly as it was. Maybe they were crestfallen about it. It's not bashing Fox to criticize Glenn Beck. I mean, we're having a conversation. I mean, Glenn Beck is a public person.
You have to acknowledge, Glenn Beck has made this bad, and he's done it effectively, and he's getting terrific numbers for all of us, and that's a wonderful thing, perhaps. But I mean, you can't make him out to be some poor, beaten down, sensitive guy. That's not Glenn Beck.
He can take care of himself.
Good.
But what is amusing...
This is Mike Wise, a respected sports writer for the Washington Post. This week he was suspended after posting a Twitter message about Pittsburgh Steelers star quarterback Ben Roethlisberger and his pending suspension. The Twitter message stated, "Roethlisberger will get 5 games, I'm told." Of course, since Wise is a respected sports writer, other news outlets, including the Miami Herald, Pro Football Talk, the Pittsburgh Tribune Review, and CBS Sports, they all went with that apparent scoop and cited his reporting. The problem is, his story was fake. For the record, on Friday, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell reduced Roethlisberger's suspension to 4 games. But Ellis, apparently what Wise was trying to do here is to prove that the mainstream media pay too much attention to Twitter posts and they'll go with anything without double checking it.
Well, I guess he's right about that, but kind of an unwise way to do it. I guess let me be the first with that, so others can be relieved of that duty. Listen, one of the problems, those of us who operate in the mainstream media are also these days expected to operate in a much looser environment where the rules really don't apply if you're going to be effective, and it's going to be a clash that's going to continue to get our colleagues in trouble.
But I think the rules do apply. I don't think the fact that it was on Twitter absolves you of your journalistic responsibility to be truthful. I mean, the platform doesn't matter anymore, whether you're blogging or putting it on Twitter.